It is Switch 2 launch day, and I picked up my pre-order at my good old local Fred Meyer. I picked up the official Nintendo Switch 2 camera, and I pre-ordered the bundle that came with the Mario Kart World code. One cut to open the box. Nintendo really wants you to plug it in while you set it up. There it is, folks. The black slab of the console itself. The right Joy-Con goes click, and the left Joy-Con goes click. There it is, folks. The code for Mario Kart World. A 4K compatible HDMI cable. Joy-Con wrist straps that I'll probably never use. The Joy-Con controller dock that I'll probably never use once I get my Pro controller. USB-C power cord. A Nintendo power brick, no pun intended. And the Nintendo Switch 2 dock. It has USB-A holes, USB-C hole, HDMI, and Ethernet. I speak English, and I live in USA Freedom Land. Giving it the Wi-Fi password for the Wi-Fi. Nintendo really wants you to know all the different ways to play it, and they're really proud of their stand. And they would really like to show you how to undock the Joy-Cons. In fact, it is a mandatory tutorial, and they're not going to let you not know how to do this on both sides. There you go. And the Joy-Con wrist straps that I'll probably never use except to play mouse games. Setting up the stand and the Joy-Con dock for the rest of the process. Snap. I was really impressed how easy it was to log in using the camera and having it linked to my Nintendo account. Then for my Japanese account, I had to type it in the hard way, manually. Luckily, I totally set up this account the last time I was in Japan. Setup complete. So the Joy-Con dock controller is okay. It's acceptable to tide you over until you get a Pro controller or a USB one, but I'm definitely going to do that. But for kids, it's probably going to be the first one that they have. Getting used to the undock button. Nintendo really wants you to use that wrist strap. I mean, the Joy-Cons feel okay. I actually have never owned a regular Nintendo Switch 1, so this is my first experience of Joy-Con ownership. It's okay, a little small for my taste. I mean, seriously, if you thought the Nintendo Famicom Mini was a little cramped on the hands, this is a little tight. It is uniquely satisfying to snap it on. Ka-snap. But overall, the form factor for the Nintendo Switch 2 is pretty comfortable. It really seems familiar because it is familiar. You know, I do have to wonder how many people in focus groups said that they wanted a Nintendo Switch 2 to be just like the Nintendo Switch 1, but more powerful. Pretty much what it is. I would have preferred a more traditional D-pad, but the buttons are fine. And the layout of the Switch operating system is pretty much exactly the same. On the top, you have a Switch 2 cartridge dock, which does accept Switch 1 game cards, a headphone jack, and a USB-C hole, and power and audio buttons, up and down. It's got a USB port on the bottom for charging and for the dock. And here is the fancy new built-in stand. It goes both ways, and you can set it at various angles. I'm trying very hard to not make inappropriate jokes. So the Joy-Con controllers are in an uncanny valley. They're not terrible, yet they could be better, and I really look forward to getting a Pro controller. Basically, once I get my Pro controller, I'm only going to be using them when I'm in portable mode. And let's be totally honest, you're probably going to be doing the same. But I'm not lying, it is uniquely satisfying to slot them in and have it go click. I was completely right about my hunch that the space was going to go pretty quick. I'm just downloading a couple games and I'm over half full. So in my last video, I was incorrect that you can actually have your Nintendo Switch Online account in 2 Switch systems, but you cannot access the same digital game without having to disable it on your old system. You know, I actually thought it was a little miserly of Nintendo in that one digital purchase can only be run on one Switch system. And so you have to juggle digital games between the 2 systems, disabling one in order to play it. And so why not just get cards? And that makes sense. And I can sort of understand key cards, but still I think that's a little evil. The first Switch had a 720p screen, while this one got an upgrade. But man, oh man, that 1080p Switch screen looks pretty darn good. The colors are nice and rich, and the viewing angles are good, and the aspect ratio is delicious for both 2D games and 3D games. Look, I was too excited to set up the Nintendo Switch 2 dock to dust, so sue me. You got Ethernet to catch the Ether Bunny, HDMI that goes all the way up to 4K, and USB-C for power. And then a cover for cable management. There, now that is an attractive dock. Now let's set up that camera. So I didn't know this, but it actually has a privacy filter that you have to adjust on the side, and it's on by default, and I thought I had a broken camera until I figured that out. Pro tip, if you want, you can use a USB-C to A cable and plug it into the Switch 2 dock. There, now I'm not a total failure for cable management, but don't forget to set the privacy filter to open. Even though the Switch 2 can do 4K, my capture device can only do 1080p. Thought I would start right off with some Mario Kart World. Even at 1080p, it looks great. Get a move on. Trying out the GameCube. You know, I can't quite figure out how to turn off the borders. I know you can turn off the ones at the bottom, but I just prefer to play my classic games on a black screen, and it's not as annoying on a TV, but boy, on handheld mode, that really gets me. But GameCube and Emulation was pretty darn good. The CRT filter has no options, but I'll have to do some future videos on Emulation on the Switch 2. It felt really good to download the good old Nintendo Famicom. So, like I said in my other video, I mostly got retro games on the old Nintendo Switch, and not having an affordable memory card sort of puts a cramp on it. So until I get a 2 terabyte card or a 1 terabyte card, I'm probably going to hold off on selling my Nintendo Switch Lite. You know, virtual game cards just puts a bad taste in my mouth that you have to disable it on my old systems, get it working on my new Switch. I mean, come on. I was looking to download Pizza Pop, and I was amazed at how many really bad AI-generated games that they had listed on the Nintendo Switch Marketplace. Remember when Nintendo said, we're only going to approve quality software? Obviously, that has changed. Back in my day, the Nintendo Switch seal of quality meant something. Again, I can't get this working on the new system until I disable it on my old system, and that's the. However, pairing a Bluetooth headset totally was easy and totally worked. I tried out some Switch 1 games and they worked quite well and didn't see any problems. I didn't see any upscaling. I think this is one that may have had an update to take advantage of the Nintendo Switch 2, but so far it looked great and worked like a champ. Nothing like using a state-of-the-art Nintendo Switch 2 to play some Samurai Showdown 2 on the Neo Geo Pocket. You know, I have to wonder if more people actually bought this on the Switch than it did on the original hardware. But I absolutely love the Neo Geo Pocket, so it warms my heart to see portable games on here. So, Mega Man Legacy Collection was actually one of the games that was on the incompatibility list. So, I don't exactly know what kind of problems that they found, but it worked for me. And at least that's reassuring that some of the games that are listed as not being 100% do still sort of work. So I finally got the camera set up, and apparently you can't play with a camera with random people, but you actually have to have people on your friends list. It's for the best, but I still foresee people doing shenanigans with the camera. Overall, I think that the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2 went absolutely great. Apparently, there's plenty of systems in stock. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because I'm going to make more awesome Nintendo Switch 2 videos right here. This is 8-Bit Joystick. Stay awesome. Play retro.